This video is brought to you by Rocket Money. Stick around to hear more about their finance management services. Alright, I fully understand that the rhetoric I will use today comes with various different implications. I am aware that some people will not enjoy what I'm about to say and will very likely lash out as a result. It's natural, the world you long supported is burning around you, and you want someone to blame, but that person isn't really me. Crypto is falling apart. As an industry, it was little more than a joke before now, but with a series of developments involving the second largest exchange on Earth, it's no longer a joke, it's a hellscape. Today, we will examine what happened, why it happened, and discuss what has become, more than likely, the largest catastrophe that crypto has ever seen in a long line of disasters, all happening for nearly identical reasons because the leaders in this industry are corrupt, criminal, and greedy. They never learn, they never change, and the current trajectory of cryptocurrency is a pathway to oblivion. I'll just get this out of the way right now. I'm not sad. I'm sad for the people who lost everything. I wouldn't wish that on hardly anyone, let alone innocent people who were deceptively lured into a nefarious scheme. But witnessing the turmoil and chaos inside the wider industry of crypto makes me smile. As a generalized community or industry, this is deserved. Wild speculation based on nothing other than greed. Hell, according to an analysis from Beijing University, 97% of all tokens launched on Uniswap were scams. Out of 27,000 tokens analyzed, just 631 were found to be non-malicious. And I apologize to anyone who finds this difficult to hear, but when the proportion of your community involves deception, fraud, and criminal theft at a rate of 97-3, it's time to face facts. Your industry is broken and needs to be burned. Maybe something can grow from the ashes, but first, there needs to be ashes. And today, discussing the dramatic fall of FTX, we will see in no uncertain terms that the fire has been lit. It all begins with the collapse of TERRA Luna. Now, I'd like to structure this video in a very particular way. How many viewers have heard of Dante's Inferno? For anyone who hasn't, Dante's Inferno is a famous historical poem describing a journey through hell, which takes place within a series of rings. These rings, the 9 circles of hell, are loosely based on the 7 deadly sins, after various adjustments through the ages. And for today, I'd like to use this format of 9 to describe the world of cryptocurrency and maintain a stance that we are witnessing the fall of an industry forever doomed to be a blueprint on everything that is precisely wrong with finance. Let's get started. Alright, before going further, it's time for today's video sponsor, which is Rocket Money. Formerly known as Truebill, Rocket Money is an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. More specifically, the personal finance manager allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, monitor your credit score, and build up your savings all in one place. As a personal anecdote here, I consider myself pretty good at managing my finances. Seeing all of your subscriptions laid out bare in one single place like that is a great motivator to make changes and be much more cost effective. I've started to cancel a number of streaming services, for example, and help lower my monthly bills as a result. On top of that, I can monitor my credit score and set budgets by category to help with certain frivolous spending habits, we'll call them, where small charges add up and make a pretty big impact. Adding this in after the initial ad read as a side note, Rocket Money will actually help you negotiate bills. Simply upload a photo of your bill and authorize them to do so, and they will renegotiate your payments from cable to internet service and even phone bills. To save more and spend less, you can join 3.4 million existing members who use Rocket Money right now today. Of course, it's a sponsorship, so I do have a special connection. If you go to rocketmoney.com/UEG or click the link down below in the description, you can get started for free right now or unlock even more features with a premium subscription. Again, rocketmoney.com/UEG to get started for free, link down below in the description. Big thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring the channel. The first circle of hell, in crypto at least, is TERRA Luna. Commonly referred to as limbo, this circle pertains to a sense of nothingness, and nothing is precisely what was left of TERRA Luna and its stablecoin when the Ponzi scheme finally collapsed. A faulty algorithmic cycle led to reinforced and escalating downfall, which wiped out tens of billions of dollars and sent shockwaves through the industry. In the aftermath, a sense of limbo was seen as investors were left wondering, who's next? The second circle of crypto hell is lust, and lust can be loosely tied to CELSIOS Network, who had an adult film actress as the head of institutional lending. Jessica Cotter went from sleazy hotel rooms to managing an investment book of $300 million at age 24, and while the true architect of collapse for CELSIOS is a man named Alex Mashinsky, the institutional lender Antibank Company on June 12, 2022, froze withdrawals for all customers, later declaring Chapter 11 bankruptcy with $1 billion hole in its balance sheet. The third circle of crypto hell was, coincidentally, Three Arrows Capital. Exposed to massive losses during the collapse of Terra Luna and operating in an industry of speculation that was now the subject of severe price collapse, Three Arrows Capital directly and indirectly contributed to the industry loss of over $1 trillion. The crypto-based hedge fund imploded on June 16th, failing to meet margin calls, and sent shockwaves through the community that can now be tied to multiple consecutive bankruptcies. The fourth circle, greed, was Voyager Digital. Blindsided by the collapse of Three Arrows Capital, Voyager Digital imploded, but suddenly they had a savior. Having filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy on July 6th, it wasn't until late September that a massive crypto trading platform, FTX, acquired their assets at auction. FTX, led by billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried, had become a sort of savior in the space. Often offering help, advice, or even cash bailouts, FTX was greedily snapping up competitors and assets in a time when that level of confidence projected an atmosphere of stability. The fifth circle of crypto hell, Wrath, is where we will focus the majority of our time today. The reason for this should become apparent later on, but for now, I'll just say that the speed at which these circles are appearing or being entered has dramatically increased. When it comes to Wrath, the explanation should be very simple. Sam Bankman-Fried, over the course of just a couple of months, went from the position of well-respected savior to industry pariah. After the potential acquisition of Voyager Digital, Sam, also known as SBF, decided to push towards official crypto regulation. His vision was one of compliance under existing regulatory framework, which is needed, and he wasted no time in securing opportunities to influence US politics. SBF was, in fact, the second largest donor to the Biden campaign, and also a massive contributor to the Democratic Party. Over the span of just a few weeks in 2021, he would secure massive speaking positions at Capitol Hill, be seen alongside Bill Clinton, and even land himself meetings with the SEC and the CFTC in a short span of time. What was the result? A man that had now appeared on the cover of multiple finance magazines, who had amassed a fortune in the range of $16 billion, and who has been called on more than one occasion the next JP Morgan, was building political influence inside the United States. Keep in mind, there were two distinct versions of SBF in the lead up to this ultimate failure. There was the billionaire savior of crypto, and the regulation shill that wanted to side with governments. On one side, Sam and his company, FTX, were bailing out parallel crypto companies like Blockfi to the tune of over $200 million, but on the other, his proximity to politics and his clear desire to bring regulation to the crypto industry made him vulnerable as a certain group of people soured against him. This kind of split reputation might have lasted far longer, in a state of limbo, oddly enough, but something else happened in early November. Exposed by leaked documents and reported by CoinDesk, it turned out that two interconnected companies, FTX and Alameda Research, were a lot more connected than previously thought. FTX, founded by Sam Bankman-Fried, was the second largest crypto exchange in the world, worth at its peak something like $30 to $40 billion. And Alameda Research was, I say was here with very deliberate emphasis, it was a crypto trading firm, also founded by SBF. Exposed by the early November CoinDesk article, in simple terms, FTX had provided a massive bailout to Alameda Research in the form of its own proprietary trading token, FTT. This means that a significant portion of the Alameda Research balance sheet was FTX's own token, which was invented by them for the purpose of exchange activity. Distilling this down as much as possible here, this meant that a huge amount of the book value for Alameda Research, their technical assets, weren't real. It's the same thing that CELSIOS Network did, where they took their own CEL token, marked it to market, and then had higher book value to lure in new investors. But the financial reality beneath a thin facade of success was dismal failure. What's more, lurking on the periphery here was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange as of right now, led by a man nicknamed CZ, was waiting to make a move. Perhaps driven by the rising political power of SBF, perhaps driven by a desire to eliminate competition, Binance decided to liquidate and market sell something like $500 million of FTT, which would dramatically lower the price, further exacerbating the issues faced by FTX and Alameda Research. In a very pointed attack, CZ also openly compared the situation to that of Terra Luna from the first circle we discussed, citing risk management, which very well might have been the final straw that broke the camel's back. Having been bombarded by $100 million hacks, exploits, and data breaches, or subjected to numerous bankruptcies and Ponzi scheme implosions, the crypto community wasn't taking any chances. After the reality of this inflated book value was exposed, and after it became clear Binance was throwing fuel on the fire deliberately, there was a mass exodus from FTX where something like $6 billion were withdrawn in the span of just 72 hours. That kind of volume exposed the underlying reality that FTX was bankrupt, but not just bankrupt, also, more than likely, criminal. It turns out that there were specific provisions in the FTX terms of service designating that customer funds could not be used to trade by FTX. In fact, the language seemed to indicate that all of your assets could never be traded or even moved by FTX in any capacity, and yet they had somehow lost $8 billion of customer funds. Still, much the same way FTX had come to the rescue of prior casualties in the crypto space, Binance decided to come to the rescue for them. Strange, I know, one of the primary actors in your downfall stepping in to bail you out is odd, to say the very least, but that's precisely what was announced. A non-binding letter of intent, an agreement for Binance to acquire FTX, full scale, and at the very least, a ray of hope for investors. Sounds good, right? Wrong. That ray of hope died unceremoniously when Binance later retracted their offer as a result of due diligence. Regulatory bodies were now involved, US agencies were investigating, and FTX has become far too toxic to even be near, as the walls came crashing down around them. Drawing a parallel to CELSIOS network here, where CEO Alex Mashinsky was practically begging users to come into his Ponzi network right before it imploded, Sam Bankman-Fried, just 2 days before the collapse of his empire, was saying, FTX is fine, assets are fine, when in reality $8 billion worth of customer assets were not fine, they were gone. From $16 billion to negative $200 million, Sam Bankman-Fried's empire was destroyed in record time, and with it, hefty investments from some of the world's most powerful institutions. BlackRock, Sequoia Capital, Tiger Global Management, and more all have significant investments in FTX. These are not insignificant players. These are global power structures who do not take kindly to losses, and SBF has brutally impacted their balance sheet. As of this very moment, Sam Bankman-Fried has taken all of his companies into voluntary Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and the final clarity of regulators and law enforcement investigations have yet to be established. However, it is undeniable here that this is the largest disaster that crypto has ever faced. This may have perhaps been much more impactful earlier, but I'd like to play a clip right now. This is the CEO of Alameda Research. Remember, Alameda Research is a massive multi-billion-dollar entity now responsible for the worst disaster in the history of a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Have a watch, have a listen, and tell me again that crypto is the future of finance.
Yeah, absolutely could pull it off without my math degree. Use very little math. Use a lot of elementary school math. Being comfortable with risk is very important. We tend not to have things like stop losses. I think those aren't necessarily a great risk management tool. I'm trying to think of a good example of a trade where I've lost a ton of money. Well, I don't know. I probably don't want to go into specifics too much with that.
Here's the part where I could go down a very deep rabbit hole of conspiracy, and I've got a video planned for it. I'm already scripting, in fact. But that girl's father, that girl being the CEO of Alameda Research, is Glenn Ellison, the department head of economics at MIT. And the chairman of the SEC, Gary Gensler, someone who Sam Bankman-Fried actually met with before to discuss regulation, was a professor in that very same department at MIT. There are connections here that go to the Biden campaign, multiple regulatory agencies, hedge funds, banks, people who might not even exist, and the entire management structure of FTX, as well as Alameda Research, appears to be centered on roughly 10 young adults romantically involved with each other, losing billions of dollars along the way. The compliance team has quit, employees are being fired or resigning en masse, and I could sit here discussing the disaster of FTX for hours on end. I probably will do that with my in-depth conspiracy video, because it seems like FTX might actually have been a giant government psyop. But anyway, for now, regardless, I'll summarize with this. Terra Luna led to further collapse. Three Arrows Capital led to further collapse. The first few circles of hell, crypto hell, connect closely to the next few circles of crypto hell. So what do we think is going to happen now? For the sake of the metaphor, the sixth circle we can see is Kucoin. As a result of the FTX implosion, Kucoin has now shut down customer withdrawals. The seventh circle, Blockfi. Bailed out by FTX before, Blockfi has now shut down customer withdrawals. And for the eighth or ninth circle, I would speculate that these will be reserved for the final largest entities in the crypto space, like Binance or Tether. And when they happen, the journey to crypto hell will be complete. The ripple effects of this are just beginning. Terra Luna led to Three Arrows Capital. Three Arrows Capital led to Voyager Digital. Voyager Digital was almost saved by FTX, and FTX previously saved Blockfi. Alameda Research went down at the same time as Three Arrows Capital, but FTX bailed them out initially. Now FTX and Alameda Research are destroyed. Blockfi has fallen, Kucoin has fallen, and the list of casualties will only grow from here. Hell, FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried were about to be part of Elon Musk's Twitter buyout even, to the tune of billions. The spiderweb here is fucking enormous, and it will take me a while to do the proper deep dive. For now though, get your money out of crypto. It isn't safe. There will be lawsuits, there will be further bankruptcies, there will be criminal indictments as a result of this, and there will be things no one even saw coming on top of it all. We are watching the industry burn, as it should, for the insurmountable sins of the past, and I'm not sad about it. I feel sympathy for the people who lost everything, I do, but the current world of crypto needs to burn, so that something better might rise from the ashes. Anyway, that's it. If you want to support, check the links down below. There's a lot of them. Patreon and locals, monthly subscriptions, merchandise, social media, a YouTube alternative, and more, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.